hell are you?
We're the good guys.
You're the dead guys.
Schwanz, wieder.
Ow! Jesus!
Yeah, there's a dog on your balls.
A clip from the movie Kick-Ass 2, no shortage of violence, and its main star Jim Carrey is no longer happy about that, even though he says he loved the original Kick-Ass movie, which was violent. Now he says the tragic shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School, which took place a month after filming Wrapped, changed his heart about violence in the movies and violence in his movie, and he can no longer endorse his own movie. Does he have a point about movie violence, or are his ideas somewhere between Dumb and Dumber and The Man on the Moon? Let's find out from James Hirsen, author of the Hirsen on Hollywood blog, joining us from sunny Southern California. James, is Jim going through some sort of midlife crisis, or are we supposed to take his dual message seriously?
Well, it's hard to say, because Jim Carrey is such a volatile personality. But, he has the right to change his mind. But look, one of the things that I do in Hollywood, I'm an entertainment lawyer. And this was a negotiated deal. Jim Carrey and his agent read the script. They knew exactly what was in there. He filmed it 18 months ago. And to a standard provision in a contract involving a name like Jim Carrey would be that he has to help promote the film. Now, maybe this is some sort of stunt where they could argue that it got publicity for Kick-Ass 2, but I think it's going to harm the film, and I suspect there will be litigation over this. I think Jim Carrey, if he has that provision in his contract, that hasn't come up in the reporting, but this kind of action by a star who's expected to go out and go to junkets and support a film like Kick-Ass 2, speaking against it, I think may be a breach of his contract, and I think we're going to see some ramifications. And he has the right to change his mind, but he has to suffer the consequences of changing his mind.
Okay, Jim Carrey's done some winners. I'm talking about just strictly using the word winner in terms of a business. He's had some winners at the box office, but he's also had a lot of stiffs. I don't know whether this will be a winner or a stiff, but here's the question, and just keep your legal hat on here, Jim. If this does stiff, will they have a case to sue Jim Carrey?
I think it's highly likely, because this is exactly the kind of thing that lawyers like to bring suits on, because it can be quantified, that they can bring in experts to say, look, when Jim Carrey taints the brand of a film by saying it's too violent, that it would cause a certain amount of tickets to be lost, a certain amount of box office to be lost. The other thing is, he's obviously, instead of promoting the film, he's going on some sort of a tour, to harm it. So I think the argument would be that, that he, by a lawyer, I think it's highly likely, depending, of course, on what the language is that's in his contract. But Jim Carrey's whole career, he's had tons of violent scenes, so now he's had a change of heart. He says he's had a change of heart. So we'll have to see, if he changes in terms of his choice of material. This is a guy that also came out against vaccines. Of course, maybe that was an influence by Jenny McCarthy. And maybe that has something to do with his his volatility, that she's not around anymore. I don't know.
Getting beyond the morality or pseudo-morality of Jim Carrey's messaging, and getting beyond whether or not he's exposed legally here, talk to me just as a pro about a fellow pro. How amateur, how Bush League is it to knock the product that you and a lot of people were working on together? What part of that is professional to you?
No, from the professional point of view, it's very amateur, very Bush League. And in a town like Hollywood, which is a very small town, and it's very tough to get to the level that Jim Carrey has made it to, people respect loyalty, just like they do in any other circle. A fiercely loyal individual is Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood has a reputation in Hollywood. You don't need a contract with Clint Eastwood.
James, I've got to be loyal to the clock as always, and you know all about that. Thank you so much for this.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate your time, sir. James Hirsen in Hollywood.